Hello everyone, this is a tutorial about how to process a character from ZBrush into 3D Coat to do some UV mapping or retopology, and then back into, I'm going to put them into Marmoset Toolbag 3 to do some baking, and then finish up the texture in 3D Coat. So here's a character I've created. He's quite high poly, and he's been painted with poly paint, so it basically paints all the verts and there's no texture involved, just painting verts. So I'm going to export this guy. Got a little folder set I made here. I'm going to call him character high. I'm going to make a duplicate here and go into solo and do a geometry Z remesher. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just click the button, see what I get. Check all the details. Second, Shift F to see the polygons, and off the bat, that's pretty good. It's quite a high poly count, so I can always bring that down. You can also do some various poly paint to preserve bits. So if I was to fill this guy with blue, change the color to blue, and go to color, fill object, and then anything I paint in certain degrees of red. So I'm going to change the RGB intensity down a bit. I'm going to mask areas I want to have a bit more density. I'm just going to say the whole hand and arm here. This bit here, not so much that. Let's do the neck. Let's do this whole bit here. A bit of the knees, and let's do all the feet. And why not a little bit of the ears? Okay, so these are areas that are going to get more resolution. So I'm going to fill them, color, bit of red, and I can actually go to masking and do grow mask because I've got this blue area mask a minute. So if I do grow, pressing this grow, sharpen every now and again, grow and sharpen. Okay, and then I can go down Control and tap to invert the mask. So now I've got a bit of this area. So I'm going to do fill color, fill object. So it's got a little softer red on it. Actually, harsher red. Maybe that's the wrong. Yeah, it should be this one. Okay, so it looks pretty funky at the minute. Go back to geometry, Z remesher, and enable use poly paint. I'm going to change this density really a good bit down because I just want it to be a fraction more, and Z remesh that. Okay, he's got a little bit more density in certain places. I'm going to undo it, make it a bit more apparent. Also change a few other things. Okay, it looks pretty good. I'm more than happy to process this. Can fine tune a few little areas here as well. Nice. Okay. So imagine this is our low poly character. He's not super low, he's 5,500 vert points. So I'm going to export him. Now, just a little note, when I've been making this character, I've been bearing in mind his size. So what I've done is made a 100 centimeter cube in 3ds Max. You can make a 1 meter cube or 100 centimeter cube in Maya and bring it in and just compare it to this character because we need our scale to be correct. So I'm going to export him out. I've not done any UVs on this mesh in ZBrush because I prefer to use 3D Coat. So this will be character low. So I've exported the high with the polypaint data and I've exported the low. Now I'm going to open 3D Coat. I'll just import UV map mesh. And I'll choose auto mapping for this one. Okay. Now if I check the UVs, this is the UVs that have been auto mapped. I'm going to turn the light down a bit here and increase the contrast or whatever. And I'm going to go to clear seams and I'm going to make new UVs. So I'm going to hold down shift and get some loops. Let's undo that and add symmetry by pressing S across the X plane and we'll just hide that. This is half the work. Okay, we've got the legs there. Let's do feet somewhere. See, I got quite lucky with the Z remesh. I've done a good job. It's not always the case. Let's split the hand somewhere. Tempted to split. Let's split it here and round the thumb. Not a conventional way to split things, but this should work to some extent. Okay, let's take it to there. I'm just cutting this whatever way works. You might want to cut it so your seams are on the bottom side. However you want. There's benefits and drawbacks to various ways that you choose to do it. Take this all the way to this here. Yeah, take that to there. And if I do Control Shift, I can take away these excess parts. If I do just Control, I can take away just one. Okay. And then this one should go to some point. We just split the arm all the way down. It's fine by me. So we should get an unwrap here and an unwrap there. There might be points where this needs to relax a bit more. You can see them maybe cutting through, so I can cuts, but you can see already that's not having the correct effect. So what I want to do is just cut this across here, and then take away and bring back these ones. It's a bit better. Also, same with this one. Okay, top. Okay, those look better. This one needs cut down the side. This back part. I quite like that, but that was actually. And we've got this, cut down the side here as if it's a seam or a stitch. Area, and the feet, I'll just these off there. Okay, that's pretty cool. Head, I'm going to do it from the chin to the neck, and I'm going to go all the way to the top of the head, cut back the way there, and then now when I click unwrap, and we've got this very neat layout here. So we've got parts of the feet, the arms, the legs, the other arms, and the body and the head. Not too worried about how these are laid out just now. This is purely demonstration. So I'm going to say apply UV set. So it's quite important you apply so that when we export this mesh, that's where it goes. This is the new character low. So we'll just overwrite the file we brought in with new UVs. Now we want to do some texture baking before we paint. So let's open Marmoset Toolbag 3. I'm going to import those meshes. Okay. First thing you'll notice is in the high there's a couple of groups here, so I'm going to sort that out. I'm just going to do Control-Shift-Tab to unhide anything, and then Control-W to make everything one poly group, and then export that. It's okay to have multiple groups, but it just saves the confusion. So there we go, it's loaded in just a single mesh. Okay, so if we look at the high poly, you can see how it looks. And the low poly, change this texture just so we can see a little bit better. Not a lot of difference between them. The high poly's got a little bit more detail and nice curvy bits, straight bits here, and that's what we're hoping to bake out. But again, not a lot of difference. But I imagine there was a load of little badges and things on this guy. Alright, so we got both of these. We want to create a new baker group. So I'm going to drag the low into the low and the high into the high. And then look at the low part and change the cage. You want to change this cage so that it engulfs the high. It's hard. Oh, it's asked me for a texture output. Don't worry, it always does this first time round. So I'm going to go to textures and just call this bake. Okay. Just to see this better, I'm going to change the color of this to. We'll keep that white. We'll change this one to red. And let's change this one actually to blue. We see both now. And then as I increase this cage, you can see dark blue areas is the areas I want to push past. So I'll keep going until I push past those areas. And just do a full check, make sure everything's okay. I'll hide the low poly just to see it better. And that's pretty much that. Okay. On and go to the top level. So the idea is the low poly is going to project outwards till it hits this high poly mesh and create various calculations of the distance, and that generates a normal map, which then we apply to the low poly mesh, which bends the normals to look like the high poly mesh. Simple as that. Right, so what it does under the hood is not really a concern, so let's click on the low poly, check that, that's cool, go to the top level and see what we want to bake. We want to bake the normals, and we also want to bake the vertex color from the high poly. So if we change this to vertex color, and then just change that so we can see it. And there's the high poly mesh vertex color on it, and we'll bake that also. So it's going to project out from the low poly until it hits these vertexes, and then bake that into a texture which has enough resolution to cope and more. And more, I mean, we can add even more detail afterwards because the texture's got way more density in terms of scale. Okay, so just enable that again, and let's hit that bake. And we can click preview. Preview doesn't always work for me, so I'm just going to hide the high by clicking H. So we just see the low poly. The preview did work, but it only applied the normal map. You can kind of see that there. But we also need to apply the... helps if you check that. Do another bake. Preview, maybe it'll apply it this time. Nope. Find that one and change that to white. So this is the low poly, and this is the high poly. Let me just change so the gloss is exactly the same. Let's go for 0.4. So high poly, this is the low poly. Something else is different, but no worries. And that's the low poly. Another way to toggle these is to toggle by clicking on these buttons. So that's the low poly. And high poly. Try to figure out why it's lighter. Some emissive material on these, or it's just the way the vertex color works. Okay, anyway. Now that that's baked, I'm just going to open Photoshop and check those textures. So here we are in Photoshop. I'm going to open textures, vertex normal and vertex color. Everything looks fine, so I'm just going to save them out, PNGs. And now it's time to go back into 3D Coat and create a new, Paint UV Map Mesh. Open a folder, choose the low poly character, and this time we want to keep UVs because we already made them, and say OK. A lot of things have come in with it here, don't understand all that. We generated from somewhere. Okay, so import the color. That'll be textures, color, and import our normal map. Okay, so you can see if I turn the color off, you can see just a normal map. Now it's really important that you have your mesh at the right scale when you do bakes, because the scale is too low, you will get issues round about the seam lines. That you can see a very marginal seam line here, and that's just down to the way that 3D Coat maybe displays normal maps. It's quite sensitive, so don't worry too much. All we really need to care about is the vertex color. So we can carry on. I'm just going to make a new layer and make sure this green ball is enabled, because that means painting, and we can carry on adding color. If I press 2, I get solid color. Change the opacity, and I can start to paint some details in here. Fake shadow. Let's do a bake actually. So if we go to textures and do calculate occlusion, do sphere, that's fine. It gives us this soft shadow. Do another one, calculate occlusion, and do hemisphere. Yes, a completely different kind of shadow, which comes from an overall light source above. So I can change the opacity of these and change that to 20 and change that one to like 10. So very subtle. So you can see there's a nice soft shadow created. Now I've got 3D Coat synced with Photoshop, so I can actually go into Photoshop and do some more edits. But for now, I'll just stick in here. I'm going to rename this layer to painting, and I'm going to work in that layer. So I can easily add the brush here. I'm going to add some eyes. Now it's not drawn in that side, so I need to switch symmetry on. And I'll just hide the plane. I can change it so that I don't get any, curvature. How would you call it? Pressure sensitivity. See, it keeps it consistent, and also the opacity, you can increase that so that you get same deal. You can choose the mouse so it's a solid, otherwise it'd be based on pen pressure. They're both pretty handy. Put it to that and do some little eyes. And now I can switch this one on and I get control of the sizing. I put steady stroke on and I can get more control. Okay, I'm going to switch that off now and change the size. You can change the size with various mouse buttons. I've got everything assigned to a Wacom pen. Instead of trying to paint in these teeth here, I can add a layer below and move it down. And call it underpainting. And I can start to paint white without worrying about getting out the lines. Obviously, if I go too far where I've not painted yet, I can continue. But I just want to be nice and neat. Red tongue. Hey. Alright, so we're starting to paint the texture here, and you can also paint directly in here. Excuse me. Okay. Back to the painting layer. Looks like a little gym guy. Here to train your Pokeballs. Train your Pokeballs. Oh. Right. I don't have to be super neat with this. It says I can sync it with Photoshop and do some more work there. Another map to bake is the curvature map. Textures, calculate curvature. Leave that with the current settings. Okay, immediately you don't see anything because what it's done is made the curvature map invisible because it uses it for various materials. 3Dcoat has these realistic materials called smart materials that use ambient occlusion and curvature to help drive certain texture details where the edges are. It may add more wear where certain areas are. It will add something else. I'll quickly show you that actually, it's good fun. I'm going to add a layer. I'll just rename this as PBR because it's a physically based shader. Let's choose this copper one. And as soon as I click it, I start to get detail. Now this is based on what's switched on up here. Move this down here. What's switched on up here will affect it. So just now it's only showing colour. If I switch on this one, it's showing me with the metalness and the gloss. And this one is normal map details. So I could go ahead and fill this whole character with this material by going to the fill bucket and choosing layer and saying yes. Okay, so that's done. Go back to painting. You can see it's done some crazy PBR stuff here. Suddenly looks a bit odd. Looked better a minute ago. Let me do that again. New layer. I don't know why. I know why. I need to press 5. Show all the colors. I was in flat mode where it just shows the color. So you can see the colors that's generated from this, and it's done a pretty good job of, covering the seams and things like that. So it's really good. I'm going to press 5 and I can fade this out. I can change the opacity to 25 and have those other layers come through. So now he looks like a little brassy toy. Pretty nice. You can change the gloss opacity to a certain amount and also the metalness of it to like 20%. And you can see he's looking a bit more kind of stony and rough. Any depth as well, so if any bumps in here I can change the opacity of those. Takes away just a little bit. But he looks quite good. And you can move the light around as well and increase the light. See how he looks. Right, so as I was saying, we can take our painting layer and work in Photoshop. So if I do Control P, it will sync Photoshop. I'll show you how to set that up. So you just click your external 2D editor here. You would click this and find your Photoshop exe, which I've done already, and you'd hit apply. And then when you do either this one, Control P, edit all layers in external editor, you can edit your layers. So Control P, and it will start up Photoshop automatically and load in those layers. So I'm going to hide the normal map here, and you can see there's my painting layer and my underpainting and my base texture that loaded in, and then all the extra stuff created from the PBR. It doesn't have the Metalness gloss files here because it stores them internally, so it's only going to load back in where it needs. And I've worked a little bit on this, so I could by all means start adding some extra detail. So I could go to the face here, and let's add some eyebrows. So I'm going to choose this, and change the brush size, and paint some eyebrows. Could I change maybe a little bit here, a little tooth here, and make this nice and white. Let's add a little freckle, maybe some little highlights to his eyes. You can kind of work out where things are, switching on the moving the wireframe to the top. That's the base of his hands, and that's the top of his arms. So I could add a little tattoo back to the painting layer, and add a little tattoo of I don't know, like one of those love heart things. Let's find something online. I love you tattoo. No, love heart tattoo is probably better. Okay, a few red ones there, but there we go. This is the kind of thing. So I can just print screen that. Paste it in there, just for show, and then I'll cut, paste that, rid of the rest of it, and again, magic wand some of this away, then lasso some of it away, and I'll just change it to multiply, and fade it a little bit, and I'll move the wireframe back to the base. Go wireframe back down there, and go see how it looks. So if I save it now, it's probably landed on his elbow somewhere. The only thing doing it through Photoshop. So if I've saved it and I go straight back to 3D Coat, it's going to take a little second and update. There we go, and that didn't land too bad. It needs shrunk and brought further up, so I can easily just take that little layer, shrink it and move it up a bit, just turn it around a fraction, and then save it again, and there we go, it's moved to a better spot. So there's how to make a cool looking character really quickly in 3D Coat. Oh yeah, the curvature map. So the curvature map did get used when I was making this PBR texture. So it got utilized to do certain things like what happens in these edges, and you see it's done some edge detection. That's because the curvature map looks like this. Change that to... If we go into Photoshop, you can see exactly what it's doing. So it's creating light points around edges and dark points in creases or wrinkles. You can see it pretty well there on the feet. See a bit there. Now it's made this bit darker. If I press 2, actually, you can see it much clearer. And I also like to, once it's done everything, it's utilized the curvature map. It's still there, you can still use it. For any of these PBR stuff, you can still use it. But I like to change it to like overlay and change it down to like 15. And it just helps enhance a few of those edges. I'm going to switch the normal map back on and then just toggle this off and on again. And you can see a little bit of a difference. But yeah, that's the whole workflow there. I hope you enjoyed that. Any questions, post any comments and I'll try and answer them, perhaps with a new video. This guy was sculpted in ZBrush fairly quickly. So there's a few issues that need cleaned up, and the retopology was done fairly quickly as well. So he's definitely usable, but not by any means polished. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thanks again for watching.